same as yesterday.
You can try.
Yeah. Okay, so we have 3 more microphone shields from Georg Eyeball. The first winner is Temo Johannes Vikøren. Where are you? Oh. And the next is Marianne Austvik. Ah, it helped. It actually helped. And the third is Arian Vik. Oh. It was true, Martin. Yeah. Yeah, that's it for now, and we're back in a few minutes for the GACO Awards. But yeah.
Sitting in the team right in the front.
Yeah.
Oh no, there was another one. Yeah, you got it.
Is there another one?
Yeah, there was a third one that he brought over.
He said that he left it on stage.
Okay, all right. Good. Cool.
Okay, please find your seats because the time has come for something new. The very first GACO Awards. Welcome. For any newcomers, I'm Sarah. And as you can see now, I'm not alone on the stage anymore. I'm so lucky to have Jonas with me as my co-host. Please give him a warm applause, Emil.
Thanks, Sarah. Hey guys, I'm happy to be here. My name is Jonas. I work for Sony Music along with Sarah as a product manager, supervising strategies and artist development. I also come from an indie game developer background, primarily as a writer. So I've done world building, character development, storylines, plotlines, and so on. I think my favorite game studios are Obsidian Entertainment, Square Enix, and Prum Software. I've taken a lot of inspiration from these games, the developers, and their characters, and tried to implement it in the music business, in a sense that artists convey their feelings, their worlds, through their lyrics, musics, artworks, and album concepts, which is also world building in a sense. So game industry in Norway, even though we had music for a while, game industry didn't pop off till like the 80s, with the release of Oslo Børs. It was the first game, and it wasn't until later in the 2000s that game audio was flourishing, and that was thanks to two pave makers, a Brit and an American named Simon Poole and Jory. 15 years later, the Norwegian game audio scene flourished, and it became more and more relevant, as most Norwegian studios used to use abroad people as sound people and sound engineers. But in later years, it's become more and more fictitious for sound designers in Norway to make a living. And it's time to introduce an award and put the work of those talented people in the spotlight. GACO Awards is the first game and interactive media award show in Norway, and it aims to recognize the most artistic and sometimes the forgotten people in this industry.
Yeah, and the award is created in the spirit of game audio legend Jory Prum. Truly, we can all aspire to being someone as excellent as him. Jory was an audio designer and programmer genius, based in California, who moved to Norway and became a symbol to the Norwegian industry. He spent much of his life helping everyone he crossed paths with by sharing knowledge and tips freely to make sure that people did things right the first time around. The last years before he passed away in 2016, he was crucial for the Norwegian game scene and more than central to shaping up initiatives to support the growing industry and helping everyone out, and immensely valuable to the Norwegian game scene. He was continuously present and immensely valuable to the Norwegian game scene. He was continuously present and immensely valuable to the Norwegian game scene. Continuously present and immensely valuable to the Norwegian game scene. Present and immensely valuable to the Norwegian game scene, both as a professional in his field as well as a dear friend.
The trophies that's right here are designed by Carla Hannon, against a designer based in Nicaragua, and they're made by Alexander Espeseth.
Yeah. He's over there. All the nominees for the awards are projects released last year in 2021. And the jury consists of 8 people who are all experts in their fields.
The categories for the first ever GACO Awards are Jory Prum's Most Innovative Audio in Games and Interactive Media, Best Sound Design for Games and Interactive Media, Best Scoring for Games and Interactive Media, and Best Audio Implementation for Games, and you guessed it, Interactive Media.
Okay, so are you excited and ready for the winners? Hey! It would be really be great if the nominees could stand up if they're here today when we say their names so we know who they are. Okay, let's go.
The Best Sound Design in Games and Interactive Media Award, the nominees are Philip Dahlström for Bunkies, Martin Kvale for Moonglow Bay, and Ariam Vik for Forgotten Spirits. Cool. I was thinking when I watched the Bunkies that we've come a long way since Donkey Kong jumping over stuff and grabbing the princess to robots, spacesuit monkeys building with bricks. So, come a long way. As for Moonglow, I really like the beautiful art style with the modern mechanics, which is something I can appreciate as an avid gamer myself, and see that Norwegian developers are getting on the trend. Forgotten Spirits, I think, as a 2D scroller, had a lot of inspiration from the trend that's developing right now, and the music may be inspired by Legend of Zelda from Nintendo 64 era. That's what I got from it. Anyways, the winner is, or the award goes to, Martin Kvale for Moonglow Bay.
Thank you so much. Wow, I was writing notes about something else, so I would. It's a great honor to accept this award, and it wouldn't have been possible if not for Zach and Lou, who were the primary primus motor, as we say in Norway, of Moonglow Bay, who made it from a very small, neat idea into a beautiful game about dealing with grief and building a community. I want to very much also like to thank the voice actors who helped with their huffs and their puffs and their gruffs and their moats. Many of them might be in this room today, maybe, and we appreciate them. And also a very big thank you to Uda and Ali, who helped test and check the game for the many bugs that I usually leave in my wake because I'm a very messy person. But thank you so much.
Great. Our next category is Best Music Scoring in Games and Interactive Media Award. From a psychedelic rhythm action game blindly pursuing full immersion with dance music through high-speed combat, via a unique platformer game where you journey deep underground to explore, to a family-friendly puzzle adventure game where you discover secrets of an abandoned world. These are the nominees. Blind for Klang 2, Eirik Surke for Spelunky 2, and Sam Shanley for Forgotten Spirits. Okay, the winner for Best Music Scoring for Games and Interactive Media is Eirik Surke for Spelunky 2. And since it's not here, Theo will represent.
Right. Everybody knows I'm not Eirik. But yeah, so he is unfortunately not here, but he is watching us over the live stream. And he asked for us to just say thank you to Gain and to the GACO team, and that it is an honor to receive the award for his work on Spelunky 2. So, yes.
Do you want it? Or? Sure. Moving on, we got the best audio implementation for games and interactive media. The nominees are Tom Ivar Andersen for Klang 2, Marianne Austvik for Dwarfheim, and Martin Kvale for Sunlight. I think if Clang came out like when Stepmania was around, I think that would be the big thing, because there's such a cool combination of like music, sounds, and movement. As for Dwarfheim, it's cool to see an RTS game by Norwegian developers. So if you're into like the old classics like Warcraft 3 or Age of Empires, check that out. As for Sunlight, it's so cool to see another game that emphasizes on storytelling without having so many game mechanics like leveling system and so forth. So good job and kudos to them. And the winner is Tommy Varanchen for Clang 2.
Okay, so I'm also not Tommy Ivar. I'm also not blind. But Tommy Ivar is present on stream and wants to relay his appreciation to the GACO team and to Game Audio in Norway, and the jury and the members for being able to accept this award during the first ever GACO Awards.
And then we'll come to the last award, which is the Jory Prum Most Innovative in Games and Interactive Media Award. And it feels like an honor to hand out this award, because after these 2 days, being the first day being kicked off with a great talk about altruism, without personally knowing Jory Prum, it seems to me like he was the perfect example of that beautiful mindset. And I know he has meant a lot to many here today, including the nominees. While one of the nominated games is a lo-fi symphony that rewards those who keep their ears perked, the other is a psychedelic action rhythm game. In common, they have the innovation, and the nominees are Tom Ivar Arntzen for Klang 2, and Martin Kvale for Sable.
a few words about Jory. I remember it was back in 2005, 2006 or something like that I first met him. He'd reached out to me on MySpace, that's how long ago it was, saying that he was this guy who did game audio from the States and that he was going to be visiting Norway and would you like to hook up? I was like, God, yeah. It was so rare back then that I actually had an opportunity to talk to somebody who did this crazy job. So I jumped at the chance. So not long after, there we were, sitting in a coffee shop somewhere close to the Funcom offices back then. And I remember the first thing that struck me about him, my first impression was that he was like a sort of intrepid explorer. He had this big white-brimmed leather hat, long curly blonde hair tied back in a ponytail, big beard, and this big radiant smile.
Jory recommended me for my first professional job in game audio. He was the first person I saw coming off the plane in Fairfax, California, a town that he loved so much that he ran for mayor.
I remember working as a project engineer in a different industry. And one day I found this newspaper article about an American walking around in Oslo recording sounds for his games. That was Jory, and the article was called The Sound of Norway in Games. I remember Jory as a very passionate and dedicated sound engineer, of course, but also a very open-minded and curious, this loud American, but also never judgmental, and a man with a big heart that never hesitated to challenge other people's perspective.
He inspired us to dream big and work with the best of people. He gave us the confidence to push ourselves and our games to be the best they could be.
He was incredibly talented and kind, and his love for Norway and the Norwegian games industry helped us make better games.
But I remember one thing he mentioned was that he'd had this dream that he was going to move to Norway. Norway was, for some reason, important for him.
Jory knew how to make an impact on you for the first time that you met him. And there was so much passion, so much knowledge, so much love for storytelling as well, that I was absolutely smitten by him. And I loved talking to Jory and his enthusiasm, passion for the games industry, and what he brought into the Norwegian games industry will always be remembered.
He was a wonderful person, both as a colleague and as a friend. He was always positive and curious and energetic, with a wealth of knowledge and experience. I think he had the ability to make people around him better, quite unique.
He was working for Telltale Games on many different kinds of titles. Well, on one of these particular titles, the management wanted to grab the unedited VO files immediately and start animating characters to them. And what usually happens is that Jory then comes back after the first initial session, and then he basically goes and edits them and, masters them out. So what ended up happening was, a few weeks later, all of a sudden, he has edited the files, put them back on the server, and now all the animations are completely wrong. And he was able to process through 8,000 dialogue files in 27 hours. So that, in my opinion, is a perfect example of what innovation in audio is.
Jory was curious, inquisitive, and mostly self-taught. He taught himself to play piano, keyboards, guitar, trombone, drums, and xylophone. He was also recognized as a computer wizard, learning on his own several computer languages and coding. He filled his ambition to work for Jim Henson at the Muppet Workshop, Walt Disney, and George Lucas.
He spent his time focusing on the good, the positive, and what was fun. He hated the word normal and demonstrated that out-of-the-box thinking led to innovation. Jory created his own path through life and encouraged others to do the same. He paid attention to details and was especially sensitive to the feelings of others, always finding time and ways to share his knowledge and help colleagues and friends. We're told that Jory truly changed the way people thought and acted. When struggling with a problem or decision, They often ask themselves, WWJD, what would Jory do?
So, I mean, what started out as just a few people hooking up for a beer all those years ago has basically evolved into this where we are now. He basically was the catalyst that started all of this. We certainly wouldn't be sitting here now if it wasn't for him.
This award is not only a tribute to his work, but an incredible honor that extends his legacy to those who will follow his path.
And so the the award goes to Martin Kvale for Sable.
Hey, it's very special to be up here to accept an award in the name of Jory, who, for many reasons, is the one reason that I'm here, that I could start with Game Audio, that recommended Krillbite early on to get someone full-time, just at the time that I was meeting them, and when I didn't really know what Game Audio was and I wondered how to do things, I would rant to him about some weird ideas about going to a mausoleum and record things, and he would just say like, yup, you got this, that kind of thing. Jory was a mentor and a friend, and I don't think a day goes by without me remembering him and the time I got to have with him, especially now, the last few years of his life in Norway. And I think it's feels very fitting to me personally to stand up here and accept this award on behalf of everyone who did Sable, because in many ways, when Sable ended at the end of the pandemic, I felt that kind of also ended a period in my life that started with, in many ways, meeting Jory, starting with Game Audio, getting introduced to this amazing world. And all the things I've learned since then through him kind of crystallized in this specific game, which was why it was so special to me to finish. So, yeah. So I want to thank Gain for creating this award, and I want to thank Raw Fury and Shedworks who wanted me in on the project, and Michelle from Japanese Breakfast, who was the yin to my yang, as we say, who did the music for the game, and Jory, wherever he may be, doing his weird ideas and cool approaches to life. Thank you.
Yeah, an extra round of applause for all the nominees and all the award winners. Okay, thank you. This is actually the end of GACO 2022. We're already planning the next one, however, so don't worry. So yeah, make sure you follow Gain in your socials and Discord to stay updated or become a member. I want to thank you all for coming. It's been such a pleasure. Thanks to our amazing speakers from Canada, Singapore, Mexico, US, France, and Norway, all over the world. And thanks to our co-presenters Soundly and NFI, all our sponsors and partners. Liam and Sean on sound back there. Our volunteers. Yeah. And Young. So yeah, it's time for some Friday socializing. Let's have a glass together, and cheers to you back home. I hope to see you next time. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.